I think that was the most anticlimactic fight that I've ever seen because I had so much anticipation. It was so easy, and even like Joe Rogan and Cormier, none of them even knew or could tell that he had like the neck crank and had it in. And it was just when he tapped, me and AJ, I just remember being like, or like, what just happened? That was a dominant performance.
Yeah, I was texting. I don't know if it was you, but I was texting this other person. He was like, "I got all my money on Jones," and my message to him was, "Yeah, Gane looked shook." And I saw like in the weigh-ins, and I watched a couple of the things. Like
I
he
saw
looked
that.
shook. He looked shook to me, and I was like, I was very confident that Jon Jones was going to win, and I think that maybe the moment got to him a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Um, it definitely was not his best performance. We knew he wasn't a very good wrestler, but you would,
Understatement. He's a
yeah,
terrible wrestler. Like I think
I,
I forgot who said it. Like a very like a well versed mixed martial artist said like Ciryl Gane's wrestling is like a double white belt. Like he's like ass.
yeah, and he's a very good, you know,
He's a floater.
stand-up
He's
fighter.
yeah.
Yeah, stand-up fighter and stuff. So like you would think that for like maybe like a round or something, like if I was in his position, I'd probably give the first round away. And it sounds kind of weird, but like you gotta just move around and not get taken down for the first fight, because standing up and fighting is a different cardio than wrestling fighting. And when you're fighting a wrestler, their cardio is not built for standing up. So they're going to actually get a lot more tired, and then you have a better chance at it, I think. And so, and that's the same thing I would say about like Khabib and stuff like that too, is like you're going to get, there's people that could wrestle forever but wouldn't be able to stand up and shadow box and kickbox for a long time. Their cardio is much, much different. So
yeah.
the fact that he got the first takedown or whatever, like so easy, or he just like threw it. I think what led to it was, it was a punch. He leaned too forward with the punch, left, and Jon Jones slipped it and got underneath, and it was done from there. Like I would have just, he leaned in too much with that, left himself open. He should have just hung out for a minute, not leaned in. If Joan was coming in forward, like maybe stick the jab a little bit, but I would have just used my footwork, moved around, hopefully get him tired after that first, and maybe the takedowns aren't as good later on after that, and really test that big body that he has now and test that cardio. Um, but yeah, he got him. He was lost from the beginning, and yeah, it was over before anybody knew it. Um,
I don't know if you follow Izzy on YouTube, Israel
mhm.
Adesanya. He always does like he films himself watching the fights
Yeah.
and then drops some like recaps or whatever. And I just watched it right before we hopped on this, and it was only about 2 minutes long.
Hmm.
But he was saying, well, first of all, I noticed too, like Jon Jones was just walking him down, which I didn't think was going to happen, which was crazy. And then he just kept saying, Izzy was saying about Gane. He was like, get away from the cage, get away from the cage, like get away from the
Hmm.
cage. And you can't evade. You can only go left and right, obviously, if you're right on the cage. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, he didn't do a good job of keeping space. It was that was
Which is interesting to me that Adesanya says that, because that's his game. He uses the cage to not get wrestled. Like so,
right.
like when he's facing a wrestler, he stays close to the cage because his footwork is good and stuff like that. But that's what got him in trouble against Pereira. But usually he stays close to the cage so he doesn't get taken down in the middle of the.
But his jujitsu and wrestling is on a whole other level, though. You know, like I feel like Gon on the ground is like almost. I want to say almost like inept. It doesn't. He has no. It's not there.
Yeah, it's a different thing, and so yeah, he uses where he's really good at Adesanya and defending the takedown to me is when he's on the cage, he knows how to use the cage, get positioning, have the cage like help him stay up. You know what I mean? So
Right.
he's
Oh
really
yeah.
good at like wrestling on the cage.
Right.
So he stays there, and you saw that switch against Blachowicz once he got taken down in the middle of the not near the
Yeah.
cage. He wasn't able to get back up, and then you saw the next few fights ever since then. It was always I'm on the cage, and if someone tries to take me down, I'm I'm using the cage to stay up or to get up. So yeah, it's interesting that he would say like get off the cage, get off the cage. So I'd be interested to know like the details of why. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was a super quick fight. The other fights were really really good as well. I was in San Francisco, so I was just like passively watching it as I got breaks and stuff like that. I was able to see the Jon Jones like the very end of that fight. I didn't even get to see the full fight. I didn't even see the kick, like the growing kick or whatever, and I didn't even see the beginning or the intros. I just saw like the very end, the takedown and the submission. I was like, dang, that was
Yeah,
easy work.
the only strike that Gon landed in that whole fight was a crotch kick. Like it was just that was probably one of the most piss poor showings I've ever seen from a champion.
Which was interesting to me that I mean that's part of his game is to throw kicks, but like I feel like against wrestlers, like people don't usually throw kicks because they could get caught and then taken down. So yeah, very surprised um, the game plan and it maybe he just didn't execute it and he just the moment got to him.
Hey, shout out to Jon Jones though, because I watched like almost every presser and everything leading up to that. And he seems like he kind of made like a mental switch. He seemed like more calm and at peace, and like he just seemed like he kind of distanced from who he used to be. And I would like that to be true because obviously, you know how he is. He's a wild boy. So, but I don't know. Hopefully, he's in
Yeah.
a better place because for a minute there, it was pretty rough.